Okay, so welcome to the quantum class. Today is all about frequencies and vibrations and getting a new idea about ourselves in that way. And that's great too. So the whole solid state that you were so used to is already like out of the door. But now there's frequencies coming in and you recognize yourself maybe as a frequential being in a vibrational universe. And that works so well. You see that with playing music, that you start to move on the music. When you hear it, like, oh yeah, you start to groove a little bit. And so what is grooving you, so to speak? Why would you even move when you hear music? So this all is part of this frequency vibration that you are and that you're picking up and that you're communicating with as and with. And so that is great. So today in this class, or in this seminar, quantum body seminar, we take time to look at specific, say, ways of expression in vibration. And I sent you, the participants here, I sent you the a couple of videos. One of the, say, iron particles that are suddenly, configuring in a certain way while they're being shaken at a certain frequency. And the other one was say, a spectrum of frequencies. And you might say, like, well, what the heck? Why do I need to watch that? Well, I will let that come back, because it's more interesting than you think. And you might not have thought about it in the way that I'm going to present it to you. So just be patient with me and pay attention. And in order to do that, we start basically always with a moment in which we start to calm down instead of activating our intellect, or more like the coming into the vibrational, say, energy field that links us all together. And I love to express it that way. It's like you vibrate in this humongous energy field, force field, pulsating life through you, in you, and seeing that you're a whole part of that. Now, your thoughts about everything will keep it away from your consciousness. So you might have an idea about your solid state, as I call it, or your surroundings, or your relatives, or your place in the universe. But that is based on an assumption, and it has nothing to do with the real experience of yourself. So in calming these ideas down, in calming down your thoughts about everything, or your associative thinking with name a word and you associate with it, or name an opposite and you come with the opposite. And so there's a lot of habitual thinking that you're not aware of, and that's in your way of experiencing yourself as this whole being, completely connected to the unified force field that is you, and that you're a whole and perfect part of. So in this moment that we come together, we start with becoming quiet, so that these thoughts still in you, and say that there's going to be more space for a different experience of yourself. And a little bit of space is already sufficient to have a huge, say, experience, in fact. And so this is the invitation, and this is the possibility that is being offered right now. So calm down, try to relax, leave your phone for what it is, leave your house for what it is, leave your town for what it is, leave your country for what it is, leave this world for what it is, leave this galaxy for what it is, and leave this universe for what it is. You're just, say, entering into the unified force field that has nothing to do with any idea that you hold so far. But certainly you can enter into it, because you are a whole part of it. So let's even quiet down more. So don't forget to breathe and to relax your body in doing so, relaxing your shoulders. Allow your body to move as it wants, and get a sense of going inward and reaching for the light in you, the frequency, the unified force frequency in you. Whether that's the 432 kilohertz heart frequency that is so popular in meditation land. No, we go even further than that. So feel any kind of subtle change inside yourself and give it space. And breathe in through your nose like you would smell a rose, and then breathe out through your mouth more than you're used to. Just a bit extra, slowly. Quietly. So you feel the quietness, you feel something opening up in you. It's like, wow, look at that. Oh, there's more of that. There's more space and there's more light. Just entering into the unified, say, force field of that. And I already give a name to it, so that isn't it either. So we're entering into a field of all possibilities, not defined by your limited laws, but by the laws of the universe. Yeah, quieting down even more, sinking deeper into that quiet. Leaving yourself for what it is, leaving your body for what it is, leaving your chair, your room, your house for what it is, leaving your town, your country, your continent, your planet. your galaxy. Your universe. So yeah, great. So here we are at the place where anything is possible. See, and don't let yourself be fooled by appearances, thinking that by opening your eyes that you're back in some kind of place. You're not. So the frequencies that we're going to talk about or entering into is already what you can feel too. So there are, say, many frequencies, and so as a human being, you say that the visual spectrum is like a very tiny little part of the total spectrum of all the frequencies in the universe as we know it. And that means that, like, for the visual, it is from 400 to 700 nanometers wavelength. Vibration wavelength and that is like one tone on the piano. So if you would touch one tone on the piano, that will represent the part that you can see with your visual cortex. And so there are 88 more, like of 78 more tones on the piano. And that means that the spectrum is so much wider than you can possibly imagine. So that entails a lot, because it is more like everything that you've seen so far is like looking through a tiny little keyhole, in fact, and thinking that you can see everything, or that is your image of yourself, or that is your image of your neighbor. But these light frequencies, the vibrational sequences that are available, are from so different qualities and so different varieties. You can't imagine. But it's good to realize that you only see like one tone of the piano, one little thing, one little part of the spectrum. So that means everything that we have discovered as human beings, everything that we have discovered fits all into this visual, like, deviation. I would almost say like a deviation, a very small part of the whole spectrum. And we think that we know something about something, and of course that is going to be, say, that's not going to be found right for ourselves. Like, there's no discovery that actually is then helpful within that part of the spectrum. But you see, like with everything, it is, even with the research that NASA does, going into the universe, using infrared cameras or using a certain part of frequencies in which they're going to actually look at things, but still translating it into the visual, say, deviation, is still an incredible limitation, because you miss all the characteristics of that specific frequency that is actually, say, looking at you. Now, the intensity of the energies that we experience, even though you can have intense emotional moments for yourself, sure, I'm not ignoring that, but I'm going to bring it a little further. It's like the intensities that are available in the universe, which you are a whole part of, is in fact like 1 billion times stronger than you are used to. Now that is shocking. That's shocking news. And will you experience that? Yes, you will. So it's like I'll go through this really quick. I realize that. Because I don't need to talk too long about it, is what I think. So better go back to the place where the changes can really occur. But here's an say an expansion of mind that can take place by realizing that the energy that you're used to as a human being, based on this, say, E flat, that is our visual spectrum, seeing that there's so much more, and also so much more intense energy that would live through you, so to speak, wants to live through you and will live through you when you realize that that is you. So this is in fact then you as a black hole. So it becomes so dense, so incredibly dense, so magnetically intense, and that you can't escape out of it, for one thing, but you can also, say, move through that tunnel to the other side. But this is what we call then like an extreme example of being born again. You come out on the other side as light, as the frequency that you really are. So when is that going to happen, and how does that work? Well, that's an interesting question. It can happen any moment. You're on the edge of the black hole. You're on the edge of it, and you're still wondering if you have a choice or not to go in there. And so in the moment that you are not afraid to, in fact, lose everything, to let everything go, you will automatically fall into it and say, come out on the other side. And this sounds very relaxing when I say it like this, which is great. So there's no need to be afraid. The thing is just that you will not come out of it. Or, as my teacher would say, is like you have to get out of it before you go into it. Well, try that. So it makes a lot of sense when you go into it. Then you know, like, oh, I need to get out of it before I get into it. So anyway, yeah, I don't know how relevant this is right now, but like I said, you're on the edge of falling into that black hole of awakening, if you want. So to fall into that black hole and come out on the other side as the light frequency that you are. So now there's a very specific frequency that everyone is carrying with him or her. It's like you have your own individual frequency that you take with you. And so you, based on what you establish as real, or what you, say, confirm as your reality, that vibration is present, at least in the first, in the first glance. And so in order to allow that frequency to shift, to be lifted, to be changed into the light vibration that I was talking about a moment ago, like the billion time more intense energy that can flow through you when you come to life, is then the availability is available for you. And so I try to make this really concrete, but you see, it's hard for me to talk about it. It's hard to not to get the point across, but it's more like the closer you get to the edge of the black hole, the more I will be drawn into it. And I'm not sure what is going to happen. So that's why it's so hard for me to make this concrete. Like the edge I can talk about, the edge of the black hole, in fact, or that's easy. That is like your dualistic thinking. It is thinking that there's a cause and effect that are apart, and that there's a black and a white, all that. But when you come into, say, the place where your solid state starts to vibrate at such a frequency, and that it's not certain anymore about its state, like the transformational place that you find yourself in at this point, it is like then it can be that this particle that you appear to be, that you try to hold on to as you, might collapse into a wave of this light energy. So this is what we call then the collapsing of the wave, and so that is available, that is happening. Even in this meeting it will happen for sure, because it is like suddenly you move into a form of timelessness. You don't even know what to think anymore, because your mind doesn't work the same way as it did just a moment ago. And that is the experiential part of this. So suddenly it also will start to make sense what I'm sharing with you. And suddenly you start to hear it. That's just how that goes. So we're getting to that point. You can feel it. It's like we're coming close to that, and which is really exciting and great. So the physical world is not what it appears to be. The solid state that you think that you are or inhabit in this physical form is not what it is. So the time that you think is so solid too, like structured and past and a future kind of thing, comes together too in one moment. See, all that, not only your physical and your particle idea about yourself, but also the linear time idea that you have, and all ideas in fact come together in this one point, in which you are going to experience yourself in a different way. So we call that really like raising the frequency of time. So how can the frequency of time be raised? In fact, by say entering into a state where you say leave the past for what it is, leave the future for what it is, and become so open to this present moment that there's no obstacle for you to come into this, say, high state of uncertainty in which everything is possible. So, are you in there? Are you coming with me to that? Huh? That's so great. You can feel that. That's so great. So the moment that we're, say, decide to collapse the particle into a wave, and which has always been some kind of discussion in physics, like is light a particle or is it a wave? And the answer is yes. So the moment that it's collapsing into a wave has so much consequences, because all the solidness of you, with the physicality, with the physical structures that you think are stuck in your body, with the pain that you are used to, with all that, is not solid at all, and it's just based on an idea, and you're going to see that when it collapses into a wave, and into waves, in fact. So recognizing, in fact, the true nature of you, and seeing that it is not solid. So that dissolves everything. So that gives you the opportunity to see this structure of you being, say, undone in just a moment. So that, yeah, I sent to the, say, you guys, participants, to the video with the matrix energetics, and that is like a beautiful example of that, a kind of healing method of using quantum physics, quantum healing in active say, exercises or yes, exploration of possibilities, in fact. And so I was with the guy, so to speak, and I had a lot of fun doing it, because actually you see that it is a good training to come to not filling in how things supposed to go, but really going with the improvisation of the moment, like that what is given you in the moment you use. And you come to really sweet, beautiful places where you discover your, say, healing power, in fact. And I had the wildest experiences with it, I have to say. But that was only like an exercise in, say, loosening my hold on ideas that I have about my physical form, my, say, yeah, particle identity. So I used it for that. So one of the great things that was shared at that point, and that's what I love to bring in too, is this, is like the idea of you throw a pebble in the pond. So that is like, he used it as an intention that you place. You throw a pebble in the pond and wait for the ripples to return to you. So I see this as a great opportunity to become aware of what am I sending out. Like, I'm this huge channel, in fact, this huge light, and I'm sending out messages all the time. So if I, say, hold back in a limited idea about myself, this is literally what I'm extending to everyone. It's like I literally bind you in that limitation. So when I see myself, and when I come into the experience of myself as the light that I am, then I see that I radiate that, say, throughout the universe. And that is setting everyone free, you know, instead of limiting. But this is all happening in my, say, in my healing dream that I'm dreaming, in my happy dream that I'm dreaming, and the temporary dream in which I am waking up from the sleepy state, so to speak, of death into an, say, awakened state of love, and being that love frequency and extending that love naturally because of who I am. So I thought with the pebble, it's a great idea. It's like you throw in your pebble, you do, you give, and not worrying about any kind of result. You throw that into the universe and wait for the ripples to return. Whether they come tomorrow, whether they come today or immediately, it doesn't matter. But the most important part was that you threw in that. You put something in, you moved something, you set something in motion. That's the word that I was looking for. You set something in motion, and not as a you that is a limited idea of yourself, but you in fact, say, are moved to do that, aligning with the universe, feeling that energy flowing through you and extending that and giving that light away. So, and what frequency is that? Well, that's a very high frequency of no limitation. It's a high frequency in which the universe is vibrating. So that's why you see that if a conflict comes up or you experience a limitation, in fact, you invite conflict because it's so conflicting to the frequency that's actually you. You have a problem with yourself in that. So forgiveness then would be to come back to your original frequency of love and of extension. So you see that all these frequencies definitely have much to do with you. And in fact, you choose all the time. What are you radiating? How are you defining literally the universe? How are you materializing the universe? Or are you setting the whole universe free? This is a continuous choice, and one you make on a moment-by-moment basis. So it's like you rule, in that sense, you rule the universe. And not by your own might and power, but it's more like the universe shows you, gives it to you, because it's a whole part of you. And if you use it against yourself, then it becomes an incredible conflict for you, of course. So that's like really logical. Okay, so now I thought the video about the iron particles that are vibrating at a certain frequency and forming patterns is great. Like you can see that there's harmony, a sense of harmony in the universe that is unbelievable. So this is of course in sound too. Like we have an sound frequency that we can hear, but there's more. You know this. It's like, well, it's a humongous amount of sounds is possible. Things you can't hear with your ears, but sometimes you can feel it, you can pick it up, you can listen to it. So one of the things that we're actually tuning into in this is the frequency of the universe, and we're training ourselves to do that. And so we're still in a mechanical phase with that, like in our development, in our awakening development. We're still in a mechanical phase, and what I mean with that is, well, look at the music that we're listening to. This is like still made with mechanical voices, beats, slapping on something. Like something needs to bring that noise of sound into form. Even a violin, whether you play very nice on it, it is still mechanical. And this in the universe, as we will start to know it more and more, is like primitive. It's like, wow, that's really like at the beginning of all of it. Because there is, you could say, like the celestial artisans, and this is described in the Urantia book too. It's like they're celestial artisans that work with thought, sound, color, movement, and all that, bringing that together to a glorious symphony in the universe where we're all part of. So it is like you are going to pick up these signals too. You're going to open yourself up more and more to receive that too. And for me it was, when I read about that in the Urantia book, it was one of the most frustrating things I've ever read, because I really love music. I love like the beautiful symphonies and the beautiful harmonies given to us by all the musicians that ever were present or are at least present in the music now. And so to hear about that, this, even though it sounds so great, that with having heard the celestial music, you would not know what to do with this mechanical jib chop, even if it's played on a $1 million Stradivari violin. So that's to me totally, that was so frustrating in a certain sense. It's like, it's lovely to hear and be inspired by something more beautiful than we're used to, sure. But at the same time it is like, well, don't take that away from me, because I love that so much. Well, here's one of the obstacles that you are encountering then in hearing it, hearing the celestial harmonies. So I'm sharing this with you because just to give you an idea how much more there is to this, like so much more. You have the slightest idea. I have the slightest idea. I discover, you discover, like we're discovering more and more about this, and it's a great adventure to be even aware that there's a possibility that this isn't the end of it, but just the beginning. I love that. I love that. So that's why we have this class too, or this seminar. It's like the Quantum Body Seminar. You're going to see yourself in such a different way that you can never see yourself anymore as you saw yourself before. And that is like healthy and great for everyone. Why would you want to hold on to a particle named you? While you can be a free-flowing, vibrational being. And what does that do to your consciousness when you allow that thought to come into your mind? Like, yeah, allow that to come in and see what it does with your body. You will be amazed. So that does something. So I saw this with the matrix energetics, for instance, on stage. You see people with a stiff shoulder for years suddenly walk around with, oh, there's nothing happening. Oh, great. Well, and suddenly that shifted. Suddenly that wasn't solid anymore for just a moment, and it forgot what it tried to hold on to. And there it goes. So that's just an example of it. So I use these examples, like I said, in this healing consciousness, in this healing dream that you're in your awakening. Not holding on anymore to your human state of mind, but awakening from it, seeing that there's a healing dream occurring in which you can play or experiment or discover all the steps necessary for you, and they're going to be given to you just like it's being given now. So there's a lot to discover in that, and it's not just about sitting still on your couch and being still. It's like, no, you can do this in many different ways. So it can come to you in many different ways. It is not set how to do this. No, it's a matter of listening how this is going to happen for you on a daily basis. And what am I supposed to do today? How is that going to look? How am I responding to this? How do I stay free of any kind of limitation during this day? What is the possibility for me to give in this moment? How can I extend myself as the light instead of the limited identity that I am tempted to see as myself? So it's getting pretty fundamental, but also it's like, that's why I wanted to come back from the great, beautiful, expanded ideas to right here, right now with you. Like, what is occurring in you? Where do you find yourself with this? Are you aware that there's like a huge change going on in you? Are you aware that you're getting less and less physical or solid, but that ideas dissolving, literally, the ideas about yourself? And that's like I almost use the word like avalanche. Once they start rolling, it wants to roll further. So the provision for that is going to be given too. And however that is for you, you will recognize that. So that's why we come together. That's why we have a moment in which we become still and listen and meditate, or start our day quiet, so that the voice that is like loud in your mind is not taking it over from you and leading you through the day, but this quiet, beautiful, interesting, like certain voice is whispering to you, this, that, do this, go there, say this. In fact, like that, like on a moment-by-moment basis. All right, so this is great. So I want to bring in one, say, friend in our quantum meetings that I haven't recited for a while, and it's our dear Deepak. So Deepak is talking about frequencies too. And so after what we just shared, it's going to be interesting to read in his book, because I feel how different that is when I read it in this light that we're in right now, that we're sharing. So it is in the last chapters or so, the body of bliss, he calls it, the chapter. So he's talking about the sound healing, the sound vibrational, say, influence of vibration on your DNA, RNA, that is being used in the Veda and the Ayurvedic treatments. That's the word I was looking for, Ayurvedic. Okay, so he's expanding on the topic, because like this book is made with the story as he gave it probably 20 years ago, a little bit more, and now he has a revision. So he's expanding on topics, and that can be interesting, who knows. So expanding the topic, Deepak is talking to us. Looking back, I realized that the concept of a universe based on vibration, leading to the concept of the human body as a bundle of vibrations, was a bridge too far for many, like 25 years ago. There have been vibrational healers in every culture, if by vibration we include light, sound, music, mantras, chants, and shamanic rituals. Probably the most comprehensive science of vibrations is found in the area of the Vedic knowledge, known as Shabda, the Sanskrit word for speech. The intriguing feature of Shabda is that it fits the demand of the Western science for a reductionist model. Every phenomenon is reducible to a unique vibrational state, while at the same time fitting the top-down Eastern approach, which sees all phenomena emerging from the field of consciousness. Well, let's read that again. Did you get this? Probably the most comprehensive science of vibrations is found in the area of Vedic knowledge known as Shabda, the Sanskrit word for speech. The intriguing feature of Shabda is that it fits the demand of Western science for the reductionist model. Every phenomenon is reducible to a unique vibrational state, while at the same time fitting the top-down Eastern approach, which sees all phenomena emerging from the field of consciousness. Yet anyone in a gotcha state of mind would find it easy to accuse vibrational healing of being a sham. The underlying concept is too alien to materialistic thinking. Once again, quantum theory may bolster speculation, since there are physicists now toying with the idea that if the universe exists in Hilbert space, like a strictly mathematical concept, and if Schrödinger's equation, which is the quantum physics equation, holds true, the classic equation that accounts for quantum probabilities throughout the universe, there may be an elegant way to reduce creation to a single wave function. Once again, this would be pure mathematics, yet by reducing the physical universe to a single wave function that gets entangled with itself to break down into the infinite waves that underlie infinite particles, something unique happens. All right. Well, that was our Deepak. So what are we going to do with that? And like, what is that telling us? Maybe we have to read more of that in order to really get to the bottom of this. But say, if you see it being brought back as a singular idea about yourself, like a single wave function as yourself, then it comes down back to you again. So this is the link I make. And Deepak, I don't know if he does that in a book, but I'm making this connection because I want to bring everything back to our individual experience of ourselves. So here we are, being this singular wave function and seeing that in our singular subjective experience of ourselves, we can experience the truth of who we are. Just like I said before, the particle that, say, collapses into a wave function, the solidness of you and the time vibrational frequency shift that is taking place in you, bringing you back to this present moment, is then the possibility for you to come to an experience of singularity, like your own individual experience, your own subjective experience of reality. And see, words are not going to do that. So it is more like you come into this state where your intellect is stopping to work, where your mind is open. It's like, oh yeah, I would love to experience that, but I have no idea what this is about or how to even look at this. It gives you a very good opportunity to come into that. It's like it's a prerequisite almost to come to an experience of that. So we're collapsing waves right now. We're collapsing particles into waves because we're actually not even having any sense of time right now, not having any sense of place, of like the you form that you know as yourself feels now totally different in this really in this moment. See, the thing with this is like there's if you come into this present moment, and this is really where it comes together. It's like when you come closer and start to come into the present moment, you see that this wave function is doing something. It is not just, say, shaking around and bubbling like a little ocean or so. No, actually there's a possibility where everything comes together, literally like comes together. It also expands into infinity, which would give you like the experience of infinity. If this sounds too spacey when I'm sharing, don't worry about it. So it's like, it will be an experience of you. Don't worry. It will be an experience for you. Maybe it's an experience for you right now. It's like the waves is great, but it still has an idea of limitation. It has a like bubbling on the surface. Like, no, this one, when everything comes together, when you, say, lose your grip, your hold upon all things, upon all the ideas that you have held on to, if you tip over that point where you actually cannot go back anymore, you see that this wave function is literally bringing you to an infinite wave by going deeply in, like in the amazing density, like 1 billion times stronger than the gravity of planet Earth, bringing you down into that. At the same time, say, is the amplitude of your wave infinite. So, and this is what my master must have meant with coming out of the black hole before you get in. It's like your experience of yourself can be literally to go in and out at the same time. You need to go in order to go out. So this starts to make a lot more sense when you practice, say, the light frequencies that we practice in meditation. Like, it starts to make more and more sense because you are familiar with an experience of yourself as going down, sinking inward, going deeply inward, infinitely letting go, allowing yourself to be like a drop falling down into a bottomless pit, like going deeper and deeper into that. At the same time, rising up as high as you cannot imagine. And you have experiences like that? Is that happening at this point? We can practice that. And if you don't experience it this way right now, that's all right too. So it will come, it's inevitable. And of course you are going to have your own subjective experience of singularity. So that will come to you in your way, exactly in the right time. Because it can only be in the very right time of this present moment. See how everything, even what we say and what we do, everything is circling around that same point. And that's pretty amazing. So it's just great. So imagine this you. We can practice this now in a moment of closing our eyes and feeling that you're going inward and sinking deeper down into yourself. Almost like a drop that falls down endlessly deeper and deeper into yourself with no obstruction, no touch, no change, no nothing at all. It's just sinking deeper into yourself. It's like we're all sitting in the same elevator going down. So we already went really deep. -10, -20. We'll go even deeper. We're going deeper into the core of our being, into the core of the planet first, and then moving beyond that too. So it's like a grounding experience almost. But that's not the only thing that's occurring. Hey, so you might feel that. It's like suddenly there's a collapse taking place. Wow. So then you feel that going down is keep on going, but at the same time you feel like you're being lifted too. Having no ideas about it, having only openness to this experience. No ideas about it. See, it's not only your conscious control, you're just sinking deeper inside yourself, and you might have a good chance that a wave is being collapsed into infinity. Suddenly you feel like a sudden shift in light. but it's sudden and it's spontaneous. It's not under your control. Boy. Wow. Okay, so I hope you have a great experience too, so you can practice this. And so thank you for doing that with me right now, that you did that. Thank you. So I'm curious how this is for you. And in class, we're definitely going to say, open up about that. Not to discuss it really, but more like, getting that right, something like that. All right. So thank you so much for listening to this, and see you soon. Thank you.